Speed is becoming increasingly important for high ranking, and you can see it's very important this year. I also want to show you another infographic that Searchmetrics created for this study, where they created this deck of cards and they show you the statistics for the top 10 and the top 30 results. And you can see here that the top 10 and top 30 sites loaded in just over a second. So when you clicked on the link, within a little over a second you could see all the material on the page. And so this is why you're going to see quite a few things that you can do in these first two sections on how to increase site speed, because it is so important for your search ranking. And it's something that you can sort of get out of the way and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. What I would recommend doing before you start doing all the things I'm going to show you in this section of the course for improving your site speed is to go to webpagetest.org, and you're just going to type in your home page. It's going to tell you how fast it loads. So you get a kind of a base for where your site's at now, and then after we're done all this stuff, I would test it again, and I guarantee you're going to see a big improvement, and all of that is going to increase conversions and sales and any other metric you can think of just by increasing the page speed of your site. Before I show you all the things you can do to speed up your site, I want to first say that you don't need a WordPress site to do anything in these first two sections. You're going to see demos done first on a WordPress site, and then either at the end of the video I'm going to show you how to do it on any other type of site, or in the very next lecture. And then I've also provided a list of all these alternatives in the very next lecture, lecture 6. But what I would recommend doing is just continue through the course until you get to lecture 17, even if you're not using WordPress, just so you can see how everything works and what the strategies are all about, and then just go back to lecture 6 once you've gotten to that point, just to see how to set it up on your particular platform. The reason I do these demos on a WordPress site and then provide the alternatives after is because the majority of people are using WordPress. Something like 50% of people who have a content management system use WordPress. But there's more than 100 different content management systems. That, there's Joomla, Drupal, Blogger, Squarespace. So I can't possibly set up demos for every single content management system, but I do want to provide alternatives for people just in case you're not using WordPress. If you have any questions about how to set this up, or anything you see in the course on your particular platform or site, please just reach out to me in the forum. I'm always available in case you have any questions. But for now, a really simple way to speed up your website and improve your ranking in the search results is to make sure that everything's updated. So plugins on your dashboard, as well as just your dashboard itself. As you'll see here, it says WordPress 4.0 is available. Please update now. Anytime plugins or WordPress puts out an update, it's to make the site run more efficiently and a little bit faster. So if you go to plugins and click add new, before you update your WordPress dashboard, you want to make sure that you back up your website first, because sometimes updates can mess around with the things that you have on your website. You don't want to lose anything. So if you install the BackWP Up free plugin here, and we just clicked activate plugin, and we searched for BackWP Up. Really simple. Activate the plugin, and once it's done installing, you're going to see the welcome page here, and it's going to tell you all the different options that it has. And if you go to the first one, you'll see it says set up a backup job. You can also get that in the left settings column here. You click on add a new job. Give it a name: Billy, Johnny, Timmy. Where's backup? And you can back up your database, your files, your plugins. And then you can save it in 4 different types of formats. So you get a choice here. You can send the backup files to your email, to a folder, to Dropbox. Sometimes the email won't accept files that big, so I wouldn't recommend the email option, but you can back up to a folder is what I would do, a folder somewhere on your site, and you'll see that you'll have a new option at the top once you've chosen where to send it to. So we click on to folder, and it'll tell you where it's going. And you can change that to whatever you want, anywhere would be easy for you to find. And then you just click Run Now. And it usually doesn't take that long. I mean, it depends on how big your site is, but it should only take a few minutes. If you have a really small site, like this one is just used as kind of a dummy site for demoing things, 18 seconds. So that's how to back up your WordPress dashboard or your WordPress platform. Once you've backed up your WordPress dashboard or your blog, you are going to want to update your blog if you haven't already. So up at the top, you just click Please Update Now. Update your plugins if you haven't already, and your themes. Just select all of those. You want everything updated. And then click Update Now. And then you're going to have to log in again to your WordPress dashboard. Type in your password. And that's it. You've updated your plugins and your WordPress blog. And believe it or not, this is a really effective way of making your site load faster. A content delivery network, or CDN, sometimes referred to as a content distribution network, is going to help speed up your site. Meaning that whenever somebody goes to your web page, could be the home page most likely, but any page on your site, it takes a certain amount of time for that page to load. Well, Google looks at that as a ranking factor, and the faster your site loads, the better your rank will be within the search results. So by using a CDN, it's basically like putting your blog in the cloud. So, for example, if your blog is hosted in the US, right, you're US based, somebody in the US opens up your site, that information doesn't have that far to travel, right? They're in the same country as you, but if somebody in Australia wants to look at your site, that information has to travel all the way to Australia. And it's going to take longer for somebody in other countries to load your page. So what a CDN does is when it puts your information in the cloud, it has it in different places all over the world. So that no matter where you open up your page in the world, it has a shorter distance to travel. Now in a second, I'm going to demonstrate a service that you can use to obtain a CDN for free called Cloudflare. Now in addition to providing CDN services for free, Cloudflare also gives you SSL. Now SSL is a type of security. It's sort of like encryption for your website. So if you've ever seen a web address where normally it would say HTTP : with SSL, it'll show up as HTTPS. You might have noticed it highlighted in green on some bank websites. Cloudflare, actually, the Cloudflare website, you'll see it when I show you the demo video, has HTTPS, and it comes with all of their plans, even the free one. And Google just started using sites that have SSL as a ranking factor, meaning they'll give you a slight, it's a small difference, but it'll give you a slight improvement in rankings if you have SSL on your site. It's kind of Google's way of encouraging people to safeguard the web and people's data who enter their website. Bing right now isn't giving any ranking benefit for SSL, but I want to show you how to set up the CDN in the next video, so check it out. So this is Cloudflare at cloudflare.com, and once you get to the home page, you're just going to click sign up. And you'll go through a basic sign-up process. There's no credit card information or anything like that. It's just an email confirmation. And I've skipped that part just for the sake of brevity here. So you're going to add your website once you've confirmed your email address, whatever website that you want to create a CDN for. And then you just click Add Website. Now here you're going to configure what's called your DNS records, your domain name system records. And this is really simple. It's, for example, if you had a blog and maybe your blog is at blog.yourwebsite.com, it's going to pull in all of those possibilities. So for example, Google has maps.google.com, and it'll pull in all the domains and what are called subdomains. Subdomains would be like the maps.google.com. If they have everything there, just click continue. Now there's three options. There's the free one that I mentioned. We're going to do the free plan just for this demo here, and then we're just going to click continue. Now, what you're doing with a CDN is you're transferring your data from your current host, wherever your information is located, to Cloudflare's hosts, which are all over the world. So, on the next page, it's going to tell you step by step how to do that for basically all of the major hosts. So it has internet.bs, register.com, fast domain, domain.com, and I'm going to include this link in the resources so that whatever host you use, you can figure out how to transfer all of your information to Cloudflare. So you just click on whatever host you have, and it's really easy. It's just step by step. You're just logging into your account, and then it's going to walk you through the process, make it very easy for you. Now, I didn't want to leave you hanging, so I'm just going to give you a quick example here of how to change your server from your current host to Cloudflare's. So I know that a common place to buy websites is GoDaddy.com, and so I'm here in my account, and I just want to show you how easy it is to do this. I know I said that they give you a list and has all the descriptions of how to change your host depending on where your servers are located, but I'm just going to give you this quick example because I don't really like the way people explain things sometimes. So if you just click launch when you open up your dashboard for GoDaddy next to your website, you'll see a list of the domain names you've bought here. And if you click on it, put a little check next to it, you'll see all the options at the top light up, and you just click here and go down to servers. You're going to see your current host in there, but if you go to the top right and you click Edit Name Servers, you would then just delete what you have in there, and then you'd want to go back to Cloudflare and look at the two hosts or two server names that they gave you. Now the first one was dina.ns.cloudflare.com. And the second was tim.ns.cloudflare.com. And then after that, you would just hit OK, and that would change your name servers. And then you would go back to Cloudflare and just hit continue. And that's really all you're doing. It's not anything complicated. So Cloudflare has a plugin that makes the process of handling Cloudflare on your site even easier. But for now, we're going to type in Cloudflare into the plugins list and then install now for the plugin. And if you scroll down, you'll see you have Cloudflare now as in your plugin list. And that's the basic process of setting up a CDN. Just wanted to mention again that everything you see in this lecture here, you're going to learn how to set up on a non-WordPress site at the end of this video. There's also an explanation in Lecture 6, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the course. Remember, you don't need a WordPress site to do anything in these first two sections. I have alternatives listed in Lecture 6, and then also at the end or right after the videos explaining how to do it on a WordPress site. And of course, you can always reach out to me in the forum or shoot me a private message, and I'll walk you through exactly how to set it up on your particular content management system, or if you're coding your site yourself. I'm going to walk you through how to set up a plugin called the W3 Total Cache plugin. And what caching is a little bit like cookies. So when you visit a website, sometimes the website will put cookies onto your computer so that the next time you come there, they remember your preferences and where you visited and things about you. What caching does is it puts things on your computer, but not really to remember your preferences. It's more to make the page load faster. There's different types of caching. There's browser caching, page caching, and object caching, for example. Objects in the technology world are anything like videos or audios or images. Object caching would save some of those audios and videos onto your browser or your computer so that you wouldn't have to load them all over again next time. Browser caching and page caching are Very similar, and you can almost think of like page caching as kind of like the design and the layout of the page, and it's going to save that onto your computer just like it did with the object caching so that it doesn't have to load all of the page again. And browser caching is very similar. It's going to save the code from the page and also some more of the layout features of the page. So let's go ahead and take a look at the W3 Total Cache plugin. Here we have our WordPress dashboard. You guys have already installed a number of different plugins so far, so you already know the process. I'm just going to save us some time. I've already installed it. Now I want to show you here something called gtmetrics.com, and this is a great site for checking out whether there's any problems on your site. So the first grade or score you get is from Google, and the second one is from Yahoo. So this is decent scores already, but as you can see at the bottom it says leverage browser caching. I have an F there, 27%. And then if you click on why slow, add expires headers is basically the same thing as leverage browser caching, as we talked about in the intro. So we're going to see how to fix those problems with this plugin. And these are pretty common problems. So in your plugin list, you click on settings. And the top option here, general, if you were to click on that, it would check all of them off, but we only want to enable certain ones. So we're going to click page cache, enable that one. We're going to check object cache and then browser cache, as we mentioned before. And then you just click save all settings. And over on the left, you'll see each of the things that you've enabled. So then we're going to go over to browser cache, and the top one will be checked off for you already, but as you can see, the second option, set expires header, that's what we were talking about with Yahoo. And we're going to click off the top 6 here. Click save all settings. So I want to go back to GTmetrix again here and retest the page. So we have an 83 and a 75 right now, and we have big problems with the browser caching and expires headers. So let's see what this plugin did to those scores. 85 and 82. Decent improvement. And as you can see, the browser caching that used to have a fail grade at the top of the list here is now an A. We have like 90%. Now if you're using Joomla, which is the second most popular content management system, or CMS, behind WordPress, you can use this free extension called Jot Cache, and this will give you the same functionality as W3 Total Cache did. And then if you're using Drupal, which is number 3 among CMSs, they already have caching enabled by default, so you don't have to do anything if you're using them. And then finally, for any type of website or other CMS, you can install this piece of code into your htaccess file, and you can find that in the cPanel of your website. Now, if you're not comfortable enough putting code into your site because you really don't want to mess anything up in the htaccess file, because that can cause some problems, so give this piece of code to a friend who knows what he's doing, or your developer, and have them install it onto your site. But what I would first do before that is just Google the name of your CMS platform, so say Blogger or Weebly or Joomla, for example, followed by the word caching, and then just see if they already have it enabled by default like Drupal did, because you might not have to insert any code onto your site. So once you're in your WordPress dashboard, go to Add Plugins and type in EW with 3 W's. You got to type in 3. I tried typing in 2 one time, it didn't come up. Should enter, and then you should see it up at the top here, EW Image Optimizer. I've already put it on here just to save us some time. Once you've installed it, go to your Settings menu on the left and go down to the EW Image Optimizer. You click on that, and then here in your settings, you're going to have something called Lossy JPG and Lossy PNG. There is a slight drop in quality when you do this, but it's almost unnoticeable. So if you click on those, you're going to get a much bigger improvement in page speed. Once you're done there, go over to Media on the left and go down to the Bulk Optimize. And then all you have to do is click Start Optimizing and then just wait. And it'll go through all your pictures. Now in the next video you're going to see a plugin that does pretty much the same thing as Ew. It's called Smush It, which has now been renamed to WP Smush, and you'll get to see exactly how big the improvement was when I compress my images. I actually use both of these plugins pretty much back to back, so I'll compress my images with Ew, and then right after that I'll do it with WP Smush, because sometimes one plugin finds some savings or compression that the other one didn't, and you want to compress these as much as you possibly can so that your page loads much faster. Now, if you're not on WordPress, you can use this website called compressor.io, and what you do here, and this works for JPEGs, PNG, GIF files, pretty much any image file, and all you do is just upload your images here manually, and then it will compress them for you, and then you just download them again, and then re-upload them to your site, and they'll be a lot smaller, and then you should see a big increase in your page speed. Most web pages do or should have images on them, right? So when you load the web page or the home page of somebody's website, you'll see pictures. Well, those pictures take time to load, right? And that can slow down the speed of your page quite a bit. But what you can do is you can compress those images. So I want to show you here first Google Page Speed Insights, and this is developers.google.com/speed/page-speed/insights, but you can just Google Page Speed Insights and it'll come up. And you just enter your web address, and it's going to analyze the site, and it's going to tell you all of the problems it finds with your site. We're just going to focus on the images right now, because one of the most common things it finds are images that are too large. So I want to focus on the desktop experience right now. And you'll see under Should Fix, it says Optimize Images. Now if you click on Show How to Fix, it'll say that you could reduce these all of your images by 17%. And if you scroll down along the right column there, it'll tell you, I mean, some of them 94% reduction that could be made if you were to compress these images. So I want to show you a plugin here that will compress all of your images at once. Make it really easy for you so you don't have to do each one separately. So you click Add New. You guys know the drill. So type in Smush. Yes, Smush. S-M-U-S-H, and it'll come up WP Smush It. I've already installed it. You can see it's got a little vice in the picture. You remember vices from your tech ed class? Shop, if you're older than 35. So you'll see WP Smush It. And you're going to click on Media. Well, not click on Media, but go over to Media, and you'll see a new option. It says Bulk Smush It. And it'll tell you how many images you have in your media library. 659. It's going to take a while to do this. It says at least 32 minutes. I have a feeling it's going to be longer. And you just click Run All My Images through WP Smush It. Now I went ahead and skipped forward and just paused it while I waited for this thing to... This is like 4 hours later. It's done like 1/3 of the 600 pictures. It's now past midnight. I'm playing hearts. But I want to show you, just by reducing like 1/3 of the size of the pictures on your site, what happens to your score and page speed insights here. So I'm going to enter the same website. And remember, my score was a 55 in the desktop experience. And there was maybe 15 or so images that needed to be compressed by a lot. If I click on desktop now, I have an 81 instead of 55, just from doing 1/3 of the images. So the list is now a little bit smaller. Maybe there's about, I don't know, let's say 10 now instead of 15. So it's compressed a lot of the images that Google didn't think it was a problem, but when I'm finished the entire 649 images, the 81 should be even higher, and then there shouldn't be anything in the list of optimized images. These are big improvements. Some of them are smaller now by 50-60%. But this is a really easy way to improve the page speed of your website. Smush It is the name of the plugin, smush.it. Just one last note here. Once you've compressed all of your images with the Smush It plugin, you want to delete it. It can actually slow your site down if you keep it on there. Now, if in the future you've uploaded a number of new images and you run your test through PageSpeed Insights or on webpagetest.org and you feel like your site has slowed down a little bit, then download the plugin again, run it again, compress your images, maybe it'll find some new ones on there that could be a little bit smaller, and then delete it again. But it's not a plugin you want to keep once you're done with it. We're going to look at PageSpeed Insights again. I'm going to be working with this website on PageSpeed Insights to show you how to correct some of the problems Google finds. So we're going to analyze the website again. So we're at a 78 here on the desktop, and we have a number of problems in here. The first one, this render blocking JavaScript and CSS. There's about 18 or so problems in here. 2% reduction there, 11% reduction there, and then minify HTML. And so I'm going to show you a plugin here called Autoptimize that's going to eliminate most of these problems. If you're not using WordPress, though, you can use Cloudflare to do this. They actually have an option to minify HTML, CSS, and JS, or JavaScript. But for now, I want to show you how to do it on a WordPress site. So as you can see, I've already downloaded it. It's Autoptimize, like auto-optimize, but only one O. And so remember, I had this huge list of problems with CSS, JS, just JavaScript, and HTML. So you go into the settings, and you're going to check off Optimize HTML code, Optimize JavaScript, and Optimize CSS. Okay, and then you would click Save at the bottom. I've already done that. So we have all these problems here, right? We have a score of a 78. Now we're back up to 82. And you'll see the minify CSS and HTML are now gone. All those problems have been fixed. And the minify JavaScript is now down to only 4 issues, and it's only a 1% reduction that you could get from it. The eliminate render blocking JavaScript, but it had a huge list of things, is now just down to 1. And so the plugin did work. Light work. So that's Autoptimize. Now, if you're not using WordPress, there's a very easy way to do the same thing on any other type of content management system, or even if you're coding your site yourself. And all you have to do is log into Cloudflare, which we set up a little earlier in the course, and you're going to go to the Speed tab at the top, and then just put a check mark next to HTML here, CSS, and JavaScript, and then Cloudflare automatically minify these for you. Now, you don't need the plugin if you're on WordPress. You can actually do it through Cloudflare. It's kind of personal preference, but if you're not on WordPress, this is what you'll have to do to minify all these things in your code. We've been downloading quite a few plugins in this website analysis section in order to fix our site. So I want to show you one called the P3 Performance Profiler. Now I've already downloaded it. If you search P3 in this plugin search section, it'll come up as the first option. And once you've installed it, you go to your installed plugins, and this is a plugin you want to delete after you've run it. You'll see it here, P3, Plugin Performance Profile, and you click Scan Now. Now I've already done a scan, so I'm going to show you what my scan looked like. And it's going to tell you which plugins on your site are taking the most time to load, how many plugins you have in total, and it'll give you a little graph here. So you can see the back WordPress up. Looks like it's taking up the most space, and then the WordPress SEO after that. And you'll see that it's almost 13% of the page load time is plugins. If you find one on here that's taking up a lot of space that might be a little redundant, or you could probably get rid of it and it wouldn't affect your site that much and it's going to help speed up the page load time, I would definitely get rid of it. And again, delete this P3 Performance Profiler plugin after you're done running it, okay, after you figure out the problems. This is going to give you a detailed breakdown. If you click on Detailed Breakdown, it'll tell you that the WordPress itself took almost 2 seconds to download, and then the theme after that, and then the plugins are a very small percentage. So this is the P3 Plugin Performance Profiler. Now as far as doing something like this on any other type of website or platform, One thing I notice when I go through some students' websites and I look at their plugins or extensions or add-ons, whatever they're called on your particular content management system, is that they'll have a number of deactivated ones. And rather than delete them, they've just kind of left them on there, and I ask them about that. And they say, well, I downloaded it about a year ago and I used it once or twice, but I haven't used it since, but I just kind of forgot about it and kept it on there. If you don't have any plans to use a particular plugin or extension, get rid of it, because even though it's deactivated, it's still there in your code. It's still something that can increase your page load time just slightly. So what I would do right after this video is just look at your list of plugins or extensions and see which ones you haven't used in a long time or you're not using right now, or maybe the deactivated ones, and just delete those, because anything that you can do, any add-on that you can get rid of off your site is going to help with your page speed. So here's a report from Nielsen saying that people are using the internet more through their smartphones than they are through their desktops, their PCs. And if you look here in the article, it says that 86% of the usage is coming through apps and only 14% through the web browser on their phones. So it's going to be really important to have a mobile app going forward, and I'm going to show you how to set one of those up at a site called buildfire.com in just a second. Google just added a new feature to the webmaster tools on mobile usability, and it was kind of a signal that mobile usability is going to be a ranking factor in terms of where you show up in the search results going forward. And actually, Google just launched a mobile-friendly label in the mobile search results. So when you see your website on the list here, it'll have something that says mobile-friendly right before the date and the description of the website. If people see that, they're going to be much more likely to click on it, knowing that they're not going to have to look at very small text and things are going to be hard to click on. It's going to be set up for a mobile device. It'll improve your click-through rate quite a bit. And Google just set up a mobile-friendly test. So you can enter your URL, maybe your home page in here, and you click Analyze, and it'll tell you whether the page is mobile-friendly. So here's the website I was talking about, buildfire.com. And you can either build an app yourself, or you can pay somebody on the site to do it for you. So I'm going to take you through the pricing plans here. There is a free version. It's somewhat limited. You do get an HTML5 web app. You get basic support, updates, but you only get 200 web app installs a month and only 1,000 visits per month. And then you have the $49 a month version, which gets you unlimited visits, unlimited downloads, automatic updates, no setup fees, and they're going to submit your app to all of the app stores. And then the enterprise version if you are an enterprise. And then if you want to do it yourself, there's of course courses on HTML5 apps on Udemy. And I believe there are some free ones here, but you can pay them to do it for you. And I think if you don't have a mobile app in late 2015, you're going to be missing out on a lot of potential customers. So this is definitely an investment you want to make. The number of people who are using the internet on their phones is increasing exponentially. And right now, people are spending 34 minutes on their smartphones on the internet for every 27 minutes on the desktop, and that ratio is only going to increase in favor of mobile phones in late 2015, 2016, and beyond. Just wanted to touch on one more thing in PageSpeed Insights that I saw besides the font sizes and the viewport. When I was done with the Smush It plugin that we use to compress our images, there were still 3 photos that could have been smaller, at least Google thought so. And this can be for one of 2 reasons. One is that the Smush It plugin doesn't always compress the photos as much as completely possible. The second reason could be that it doesn't or it won't compress images that are larger than 1 megabyte. That's the absolute maximum for the plugin. With these 3 images, what you can do is you can compress them manually. So if we go into our WordPress dashboard, you'll see the little message here. This one was larger than 1 megabyte. You might want to compress that manually. And what you can do is, if it's a PNG file, there's a website called tinypng.com. And if you go to the website, all you have to do is, assuming you still have these images or photos on your computer, is just click the button and then upload them, and it'll compress them further. Now you might have noticed that in the list of images from PageSpeed Insights, I also had a JPEG photo. If that's the case, there's also a website that you can use for that called compressedjpeg.com. In case you want to see what the image looks like, you can always just type in the name and it'll come up there. Now if you see here, Smush It didn't find any savings from this. So like I said, it doesn't always compress them as much as possible. So you can go to compressedjpeg.com, upload the files, and do the same thing that you did with TinyPNG. And hopefully when you're all done compressing these manually, this optimized images will be gone from the list. Now the reason I've been showing you everything here on a Chrome browser is because in June of 2014, Chrome and their Android browser, which is the one that's used on mobile phones, overtook Internet Explorer for the first time in history. So Internet Explorer had 80% of the Internet browser market in 2008. Now they are below 30%, and Chrome continues to climb. It's because Internet Explorer and Firefox don't really have much of a mobile presence. They don't really have a browser that's dedicated to smartphones. So Chrome's been overtaking them, as well as Safari. So that's why I've been focusing so much on Chrome and Google PageSpeed Insights, which I'm going to show you a couple things in a second that you can do for mobile devices to speed up your site. Now, if you create a mobile app using BuildFire like I showed you in the last section, you won't have to worry about any of this stuff. Now, we've done a lot of stuff on the desktop, and we got a pretty good score there in the high 80s, but our mobile user experience is still pretty low, about a 63. Creating a mobile app itself is beyond the scope of this course, but I just wanted to show you some things that might be common problems that you would see. This is saying use legible font sizes, and you can see when you click on show screenshot, it'll highlight it in red. Certain buttons, particularly the Facebook share buttons or any font that you haven't made larger than, say, a 12 or a 14, is going to show up very small on a mobile phone. So all the problems here seem to be related to the Facebook share and like buttons. If you look at the list here, they all have to do with that. So there is a way to increase the size of your Facebook like and share buttons. It involves a little bit of code. It's sort of beyond the scope of this course, but I just wanted to show you that it is a possibility in case this is a problem that you find on your PageSpeed Insights. All you would do is find the part in your page where the Facebook like button or share button is located, and then you could just copy and paste that scale there, and it'll make it much bigger, much easier for people on mobile devices to click on. But again, this is something that your mobile app will handle itself, and you'll have support for through BuildFire, but I just wanted to show you how to do it manually just in case. The tap targets down here, tap targets or touch targets, are just the size of the buttons, so it's going to be very similar to the things that it found in the legible font sizes, and in fact it's highlighting the same thing again. It's the Facebook like button again. It's too small. So when you're creating buttons for your mobile app, if you decide to do it yourself, you want to keep them between 45 and 57 pixels wide, which is the average size of a finger. Unless you're the nutty professor, and then you need a bigger pixel size. And if you touch things with your thumb, I guess if you're playing like a video game or something on your phone, you'd want it even bigger. And then the viewport is just how your page looks on somebody's phone, right? So if you don't have a mobile app, somebody brings up your website on their smartphone, they're just going to see what somebody on the desktop would see. It hasn't been configured to show up on a smartphone. So Google actually has a page dedicated to showing you the meta tag, as they call it, that you need to put into the head of your page. Now, if that sounds like Swahili to you, it's actually a very short, simple piece of code here. It just says meta name equals viewport. So this whole thing is saying that just size it down to the shape of the device. So if the device is 5 inches tall, make the page 5 inches tall. So now I'm going to show you a really easy way to insert this piece of code into the header of your page, or really any piece of code, just in case you're not comfortable with inserting anything into your web page. If you go to your WordPress dashboard, I've already downloaded it and installed this plugin. It's called the Insert Header and Footer plugin. So I'm going to show it to you here on the list. But just in case you ever come across a plugin or anything that you want to have run on your page and they tell you to insert it into the header of your page, all you have to do is go to the settings menu once you've installed the plugin, go down to Insert Headers and Footers, and you'll see two big boxes here, one for the header and one for the footer. And all you do is paste that piece of code in there and click Save. And now it's exactly where it's supposed to be. So if you want to see it manually, see what it looks like, go to Appearance on the left side and then down to Editor like I was talking about a little bit earlier. And then if you scroll down, you'll see this header.php file, and you just do the Control F function, the find function, and then you type in viewport and you can see it's already inserted in there for you.